I have vague memories after the release of the first Strangers movie. Talks of a sequel that said Liv Tyler would return. There were rumors that it would be a completely new story altogether, with new or the same strangers. Then those rumors started to fade, and I lost hope that a sequel would ever be released. But then 10 years later, we got Prey at Night. Now I have confusing feelings when this movie came out. Not that I didn't like the movie, just it felt so different from the first one. The original was a depressing and somber home invasion. A lot of the fear was that we couldn't see the strangers. It spent more time building on atmosphere, building on what you didn't see, than the killers just coming out with a knife. The sequel is less than a 70s picture and something more to a 80s slasher. It's more fun, more gory, and it's a little bit more colorful. Brian Bernardino, I always forget to say his name, steps out of the director's chair for this one, handing those reins to Johannes Roberts. Though Bernardo still wrote the film alongside Ben Keita. The film takes place sometime after the first one. Seeing that we aren't given a timeline, I'll just guess since the first film came out 10 years later, and the first one was set in 2005, Prey at Night probably takes place around 2015. We follow a family of 4 as they embark on a road trip to drop the youngest at boarding school. As they stop to rest at a relative's trailer park for one last family night, they are preyed upon by the strangers. While I have mixed feelings on the film when I first watched it, nearly 10 years ago, I haven't really watched it since then. So for this video, I've watched it a few times after that, and I have to say I do love it. I think it's just as good as the original, just for different reasons. And it kind of works as a continuation for our titular killers. Starting off with characters, the mother and father, Sydney and Mike, are played by Christina Hendricks and Martin Henderson, and the kids, Luke and Kinsey, played by Lewis Pullman and Bailey Madison. The actors all work well off each other. You buy them as a family. You're not told exactly what happened, but it seems the daughter, it was a bit of a bully, and something bad happened. And she's a bit of the rebel of the group, and it's kind of put the parents on their wits' end. So similar to the first, we have a broken bond. And the first, it was a couple, and here is a whole family. But you can tell they still love each other. Also, we have such a great and heart-wrenching scene of grief when certain family members' bodies are discovered, or when the children have to mourn the loss of their parents. Luke has his own little arc. We see how scared he is during the ordeal. He's better at running and trying to protect his sister. But that scene in the pool when he gets pinup girl and screams at Baghead was so satisfying. It was so great to see these killers finally lose something. Speaking of the killers, they have a little change. They probably went on a little character arc between films. All the strangers are played by different actors, but this isn't Jason or a Michael situation. Neither group of actors from the first or this one really give the strangers any more personality than we saw before. But they do have some character growth. Remember in the first movie when Baby Doll said, "It'll be easier next time." Now, instead of sticking to the shadows most of the time, the strangers are a lot more cocky, allowing themselves to be seen a lot more by their victims, and you can say that cockiness was their undoing. Instead of being confined to a single home, now the strangers have a whole trailer park to play in. I love the look of the dark neighborhood in the stranger's stalking truck. It gives you a sense that they could be anywhere and nowhere is safe. But it gets a little silly at times. There's that scene where Pinup Girl jump scares Kenzie, which makes no sense when you really think about it, because how long was she waiting there for Kenzie to show up? Several minutes? An hour? And another time when Kenzie walks into a random trailer and one of the strangers is just there waiting for her. Like, how did you know she was going to be there? The violence and action were turned way up from the first film. Lots of blood spraying at the camera, more trucks smashing the things. An amazing stunt with a car on fire that's a direct reference to Christine, and I freaking loved it. It's one of the probably the best shot in the movie. It's probably the best shot in the movie. It's just so haunting and beautiful. Also, the theme does have a bit of a Carpenter edge to it. And to finish off the references to other movies, we have a direct reference to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The scariest part of the film has to be when Baghead or Sackhead or the Man in the Mask kills the father. Mike, he just crashed a car, he said his final goodbye to his son, he's unable to move, he's in pain, he can't defend himself. Then Sackhead just jumps into the car, he finds the right tune, and stabs him in the neck. It's so tense and uncomfortable watching Mike beg for his life and Baghead just ignoring it and having fun brought the film to a much darker level. And also, since the mask has a smile on it, you can't help but imagine the man underneath is smiling as well, because we get these couple shots up close to his eyes and you can't tell like the emotion. Like, it looks like he's interested, but you can't tell if he's having fun. You can't tell what the reason is. There's something about the close-up on the eyes that makes it so more haunting. There is this whole thing with a smiley face that the strangers put on a couple places throughout the movie, kind of like it's their bat signal or something, which is weird because they didn't have that in the first movie. But they do some of the same not tropes, but signature moves from the first movie. The painting hello inside the cabin so you know that they've been inside. Throwing rocks and other junk at their car. But the smiley face is new. That was not in the first movie. I think my only real complaint are that Pinup Girl barely got any screen time compared to the other strangers, which is something that bothered me in part 1 as well. Kind of like the first movie, Pinup Girl barely gets any screen time compared to the other strangers. I don't know, the movie's an hour and 25. Couldn't you find another scene to have her do something other than just being creepy? Also, kind of like in the first movie, we do have the thing where main characters in horror movies make horrible bad decisions. Now, like I said in the first review, I kind of give that a pass in certain scenes because, heck, you don't know what you're going to do in that kind of situation. Your brain is going to be all firing with fight and flight and adrenaline. And you won't make good decisions in a tough situation most of the times. So I'm kind of okay when bad decision making is in a horror movie. Here, though, it's kind of, I don't know, because the first kill we see in the movie is when the mom is trying to get Kenzie into the bathroom. She's trying to open up the latch so she can get out. All while Baby Doll is bursting through the door. And Baby Doll, she bursts through the door, and Christina Hendricks, she's not even trying to fight back. She just accepted her fate. You don't see her trying to turn around and stall the killer. She doesn't try to break the window and fight back. She doesn't try to run out. She just completely accepts her fate, and it feels, I don't know. Because yes, I understand you want your daughter, you want your child to be safe first. You want them to be your priority to being safe first. But then again, you think you try to fight back as soon as you know that your daughter can get away. Or try to fight back even just to stall the killer longer, you know what I mean? I don't fully get that scene. Also, there's this weird part where when Baby Doll does break in, she starts hugging the mom, starts kind of caressing her. Like, Baby Doll kind of into this? Like, is that probably one of her motives too? Like her motives are more sexual. You don't really see her do that again with the other killer, with the other victim. So it's this weird little one-off moment where he seems like that's probably some of her personality, but it doesn't pop up again. Also, speaking of Baby Doll, we get when she dies, it was just so freaking satisfying. It has this moment where she referenced the first movie because Kenzie's like, "Why are you doing this to us?" And Baby Doll, she responds with,
"Why not?"
They're just doing this for the fun. There's no greater motives, there's no revenge, there's no sacrificing to a god or a demon or a personal blah blah blah. It's just, this is just fun. This is just a Saturday night to them. And rounding out the horror references, the film ends with a, I guess you can call it a nod to Halloween 2 if you want to stretch it, with Kenzie and Luke in the hospital. There's a knock at the door. It's knock knock knock. Knock, knock, knock. Is Tamara home? We don't know. We don't know what the person says. We don't know if Kenzie's PTSD kicking in. We don't know if it's just a dream sequence. It seems like they were setting up for a part 3, but we never got that. I don't know, when I first watched this back in 2018, I was a bit upset that all the strangers died. Because I thought, I don't know, we could learn something about them, or maybe just get a third film. So you wait 10 years for a sequel, you think they'll try to do something more with these characters, but now thinking about it, I kind of like it. These last couple rewatches, I enjoy their deaths, mostly because they got everything coming to them, but also kind of plays on them. Pinup girl who loves surprising people, like sneaking up on people. Well, when she tried to surprise Luke, she got knocked on her ass. Baby Doll, who's been cocky this entire movie, if she just stopped to think for 1 second, she wouldn't have got that shotgun to the stomach. It does make me think about what a trilogy could have been. So yeah, while I initially didn't really like this film when I first saw it, I really do like it now. I really do love it. I think it's just as good as the original, but for different reasons. It's scary, it's gory. I love how they play with lighting, especially with the darker scenes, and then later in the colorful scenes. The best scene in the movie with them in the pool is they really do play with a lot of the flashing lights, which was beautiful. It was beautiful. I loved it. I really do love the characters. I love the death and the reactions to people dying. It's just so horrific. But I always kind of wonder, what if one of the strangers survived? Because this was kind of setting up for a cool trilogy. Think about it. The first is a 70s grim home invasion. Part 2 is an 80s slasher. So what would part 3 be? Part 3 would probably be like a 90s thriller, playing off Scream or I Know What You Did Last Summer. And you can even bring back Liv Tyler and make it like super meta. You can play on just other horror movie tropes and references. I don't know, it could have been really cool. It could have been really cool. But instead, we got The Strangers Chapter 1. That movie really hurt me. We'll talk about that next time. I've been Hanyo, your Demon Cinephile, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.